Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you. Yep, Turkey edition. We're going to do a little SEC roundtable talk. We're going to talk about, obviously, the SEC. We're going to talk a little bit about the big losses that happened last weekend, how it affects everything. And then also, can the Vols handle Vandy? It's going to be difficult. I know most of y'all are getting ready to have your turkey or you've just had it.
Save the neck for me, Clark.
Okay, Eddie.
Anyway, I hope you enjoy your Thanksgiving. I decided to put out a show today. I'm probably eating turkey right now as we speak. Anyway, hope you enjoy the show. And I got my two brothers in this one. All right, folks, got my bros on here, Daryl and my other brother, Daryl. And we're going to discuss the crazy day in the SEC. It was wild. Obviously, things worked out great for some teams like the Tennessees of the world, Georgia, several other. I think Indiana got saved because of the SEC losses. They'll get to probably stay in the playoff, I would guess.
Yeah.
And everything worked out kind of perfect, but terrible for some SEC teams. And it could affect the SEC because they only get like 2 or 3 teams in, depending on how the week goes.
I don't think it was a good day for the SEC, but it was a great day for Tennessee. I think we're in if we can just beat Vanderbilt. If we can just beat Vanderbilt.
Vandy says we can.
All right, I'm going to pull up the rankings. Let me add those to the stage here. Here you go, boys. Oregon sitting at number 1. Here's Ohio State, then Texas, Penn State, Notre Dame. Here's Georgia at 6. We're at 7. Miami at 8. SMU, Indiana. See, they stayed. Top 10 you're in. And then Boise State and Clemson.
Is that Sports Talk, Jay? Is that the AP ranking is what that is?
That's ESPN and all that stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, I'll tell you exactly what it is. Yeah, that's
ESPN.
That's the AP. And then there's a here you go. Here's your coaches. Looks like it's about exactly the same, only they've got Tennessee number 8. They got Miami ahead of us.
All right.
Everything else stays the same.
Yeah, coaches poll always ranks us lower because of Kiffin.
So that gives you a pretty good idea of what's going on. Obviously, the Ole Miss, I wasn't surprised that Florida beat them, given how they've been playing. You know, they whooped up on LSU.
Yeah.
Look, when you're at the Swamp, man, that's a tough place to play. You notice everybody that lost, all the big games that lost were on the road.
Yeah.
It is. We've talked about that before. A game on the road in the SEC, I don't care who you're playing. It's hard. I'm convinced it's a 10-point advantage. And the refs get affected by it. They can say what they want, but they get affected by it.
Depending on the venue and if the team is good, I think it's 14 points in some cases. I think it is in Neyland.
With Florida beating Ole Miss, knocking Ole Miss out of the playoffs, with Oklahoma beating Alabama, which knocks Alabama out of the playoffs.
Yeah, I gave them a third loss, and that was one that they just absolutely whooped them.
We're golden. You just got to beat Vanderbilt, which is not going to be easy. I'll just go ahead and say it.
No, it could be a very close game.
I'd take a 1-point victory right now and be tickled to death. I'm telling you. They almost beat LSU down there last night.
Yeah.
They gave them all they wanted.
Golly, how are they doing that? That quarterback, Pavia.
That quarterback he's a major problem.
He is tough.
Well, they're coming at you from 3 different directions, and he can throw.
Yep.
He might hand it off. He may keep it. It could be a number of things. And then, like I said, he can throw it. And they've got now he's a little bit banged up. If you notice, they brought in a freshman quarterback who's really, really fast. He was a 4-star, and he's a sleek run. He's much faster than Pavia, but I don't think he's got the moxie in the arm. But they put him in a couple times because Pavia is banged up big time.
Yeah, but he's still playing.
Cut me, man.
I don't want to do it.
Cut me.
Oh, yeah. He's tough as nails.
They're going to have extra motivation. They would love to ruin our season, which it would. It would totally ruin our season if they beat us.
Oh, yeah.
And
been in-state rivalry, and they destroy our season like Florida used to do back in the day. They'd be thrilled. They'd storm the field probably.
I promise
all 50 of them.
You mean the 10,000?
Yeah, all 50. All 50.
Well, that's the one thing. We'll have more fans there than they would. But hell, Alabama had the whole stadium and still lost to them.
Yeah.
That's it. And yeah, all 50 of their fans would storm the field, but that's all it takes to take down the goalpost. But yeah, I mean, if we can just sort of contain that kid a little bit, and Nico can have a decent day and run a little bit himself, I think we can take care of business. But man, we got to contain that kid. I mean, you're not going to stop him, but if we can just kind of contain him.
He's a running quarterback. I mean, we have trouble with the run. Everybody has trouble with the running quarterback in this league.
Yeah.
So. But
that additional dimension is
their defense is decent, and our offense is. It's still, in my mind, it's flawed.
It's a little questionable.
Yeah, we play great against the non-competitive teams, but whenever we get somebody good, our offense struggles. We always shoot ourselves in the foot. Seems like the other teams kind of play us that way. They like keep everything in front of them until we get down to the red zone, and then they'll start attacking more. But they kind of let us have our little 6 or 7 plays because they know at some point we're going to do something stupid. Get a penalty, fumble it, our wide receiver drops an open pass, false start. We always do something to shoot ourselves in the foot. More likely we are to make a mistake. So it looks like that's kind of what they've done on their game plan with us on the offense.
Didn't we have 2 offensive pass interference calls yesterday or something like that?
Yep,
Plus
a couple of them. Yeah. What they're doing, they're playing a 3-3-5, and they're putting an umbrella over the top with 2 high safeties, and they're letting you throw everything in front of them, but they're not letting you beat you with those big splash plays that go 70 yards.
Exactly.
That's what they're doing. That's why we're moving the ball, no problem. But like I said, if we make one major mistake, that ends the drive.
Logical.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's tough to drive.
Yeah, when we had Hendon Hooker, they weren't playing that defense against us. And if we got them, we got them. It was like 60-yard, 70-yard touchdown. It was just boom, it was over.
Yeah, it looks like they figured out, how to defend our system, which it makes sense. Eventually, everybody in football figures out a way to stop you, and then you do something different, and they'll figure out a way to stop that. So it's kind of a cat and mouse game.
Well, also everybody's scoring less points because they changed the clock rule so much. The clock runs the entire time. You go out of bounds, it runs. You get a first down, it runs. So it used to be you could get a lot more plays in, and people couldn't run the clock on you as much as now. A team also tries to keep the ball away from you and run as much clock as they can. It's not as hard to do.
That's a good point.
Who'd they make that rule to slow down, I wonder?
Well, they wanted more commercials. They wanted to get out of commercials and get the game over.
That's exactly.
But it had the added benefit of slowing us down.
The games still go the same amount of time. There's just more commercials in them.
There's a lot more commercials. I can tell you, I was trying to watch all 3 games last night, and there was multiple times where there was commercial. You couldn't even go to a game that was playing multiple times. There was so many commercials.
Woo! 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 Ow! Love that money.
But that means
it actually shortens the game on the field. It doesn't shorten the game watching it because there's so many more commercials.
It probably helps a little bit because it's just NFL rules. I mean, they figured it out in the NFL, because they're all about the money, and it works.
Really?
It's going to make it easier. It's going to make it easier to add more games, which is what we're going to wind up doing. First of all, we're going to go to 16 games in the playoff. That way they add a ton of games into the playoff itself with no buys. And the college football playoff TV contracts can be increased because we're getting ready to have to pay $21 million a year to the players out of our own funds at the universities, plus NIL.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yep. You're going to need more money.
Absolutely. And more games get you more money, and there's not going to be anybody screaming, oh, they're amateurs, you can't do that to them. Those players are like, hey, as long as the money's coming in, we can add a game. That's not a problem.
Sure, that's a good point. It's a good point.
Derek, you better yell, show me the money!
I throw a monkey wrench into the conversation here. I think this season shows why I think it's a bad idea to go to 9 games for every team in the SEC, because we're just eating ourselves this year.
That's a trick. That is a Big Ten's trying to trick us into going 9, and Sankey's falling for it because he wants it. He wants that money. This is exactly why I didn't want to go to 9 games, because we play tough ball games. Big Ten's up there playing Rutgers and Northwestern and teams like that, I'm sorry.
Yep.
There's too many easy games in the Big Ten, certainly in the ACC and Big 12, whereas in the SEC, you could be playing a 5-5 team like Oklahoma on the road, and they'll beat the crap out of you.
This is the dumbest trick. Why don't you ever call me dumb again? What a dumb trick.
That's a good point, because the Big Ten only has 4 really good teams. That's it.
Yep.
SEC has 8 really good teams.
Yes,
Exactly.
there's 8 teams that can beat any of the other 7 teams, and on any given Sunday, especially on the road.
In the Big Ten now, is it 18?
They've got 18. We got 16, and there's 10 of them that are just piece of cakes. So,
That's
of
it.
course, they want us to go to 9. They don't care to be 9. Heck, they might as well go to 12. You think Ohio State's worrying about playing the bottom level of the Big Ten? They're not at all.
Hey, Spike, how about we chase cars, huh? Does that sound like fun? Nah. Yeah, that wouldn't be no fun.
Well, they're basically playing chumps half the season in their conference, and then they're scheduling chumps on their non-conference games. So that's how you get 11-1 Oregon out there.
Well, they played Ohio State. That's their big game. And see, now Michigan doesn't have Connor Stallions anymore. They're back to being kind of slightly above middle of the road. They're, 6-5 right now.
Isn't NEA's season over now? Didn't they finish 11-1? Aren't they done?
I thought that moved them to 10-1.
They're 10-1. They played one decent ball team, and they got beat handily.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, by three and a half scores.
They're going to get in.
They're in. I'll tell you,
the
losses by Ole Miss and Alabama were huge for them because they would have been knocked
big
out.
for us and big for them. The other teams too. It probably helped BYU, and they lost.
Yeah, BYU, that was a big loss there too.
You guys probably realize this, but we've got a decent shot of hosting a home game now for the playoffs.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Particularly if we need Notre Dame to lose out there at USC next Saturday. They've got to travel across the country out to Los Angeles and play USC. If they could lose that ball game, I think we'll get a home playoff game. Provided Vanderbilt.
Yeah, you're going to have to get a little bit lucky because that's Notre Dame's last game. They're not in a conference. They don't have to play a conference game because they're extra special.
Well, Lottie frickin' da!
Yeah, Georgia plays Georgia Tech, but I don't think Georgia Tech could do that. If Georgia lost, we could be in on the and it's an 8 seed.
Yeah,
yeah,
it would definitely be a big loss for them. It's hard to say, but here's the other thing: I don't think we can get in the SEC championship because
no, we're out. We're already out. We're out.
Yeah, because Texas A&M,
which we don't need to be.
They beat us in the tiebreaker somehow. I don't know how.
Yeah, Georgia. It's Georgia against either Texas or Texas A&M. So Texas A&M, theoretically, they could beat Texas, go to the SEC championship game, and lose. Say they lose. Now they've got 4 losses. Are they going to let them in the playoff with 4 losses, even though they went to the SEC championship game, which theoretically means they're the second best team in the SEC? I don't think so.
Yeah,
no, there's no way you could.
Yeah.
That'd be a heck of a stretch.
Yeah, these conference championship games can throw a lot of things, a monkey wrench into this whole thing.
We don't want to be in the SEC championship game. I don't think you want to.
That's the thing. Sankey's got a problem there because he doesn't want to lose that game because it's a ton of money for the SEC.
Oh, yeah. Lord, yeah.
Basically, I mean, like everybody's been saying, you don't want to go to the SEC championship game and get beat and get knocked out of the playoffs. I mean, yeah, there's an upside of winning it, but do you want to take that chance? Is it worth it?
Well, the thing is, if you're already in it, winning it doesn't help you that much, but losing can destroy you.
Yeah.
And it's an extra game that if things stayed the same, you'd be good. But if you lose in that game, it could knock you out.
It's tricky. I don't know what they're going to do with that. They're talking about going to 14 teams in next year, but they had to back off that because they were going to make Big Ten and SEC getting a bye, and that didn't fly.
I'll tell you the biggest thing this has done, though, and we've talked about this too, and you've talked about it on your other videos, John. It makes all these games at the end of the year so relevant, and everybody's watching. Like that Florida-Alabama game, that wouldn't have meant anything if we were in a 4-team playoff, because we'd all already been out except Georgia and Texas. They would they would be in, but that's about it. Or maybe one of them. You know, Ole Miss would have already been out. We would have already been out.
Bill Monty, because I didn't even go to our game. I didn't even go watch it because I wanted to watch Florida play Ole Miss.
Yeah, we watched it at your tailgate.
I didn't want to see us kill the UTEP Miners.
Yeah.
But I wanted to watch the other game, so I'm still involved.
I know.
I love it.
Yeah, we should have been doing this
Alabama
for years. We should have been doing this for the last 20 years. It's crazy.
Oh, I know. It's so stupid. The amount of money they could have made over the last 10 years.
Yeah, and it would have been a lot more fun with the fan bases too. A lot more fun.
Did you see the Tennessee fans when they saw the Florida?
Oh yeah,
they were doing the Gator chop
at Neyland Stadium. Who would have ever told me that University of Tennessee fans would be doing a Gator chop in Neyland Stadium?
Yeah,
I'd have said, cut my arms off before I do that.
Yeah.
And the other thing I mean, why am I pulling for Florida? I don't want to pull for Florida. I hate Florida.
You were yesterday, though.
Yeah.
You were doing the chomp, Junebug.
Well, there's only one thing to do. That's what we should have done in the first place. You mean learn to love them.
I don't hate them, but I don't want to pull for Florida.
Yeah. I won't say I pulled for Florida. I was pulling for Ole Miss to lose. And secretly, I was hoping they both lose.
I hear. Well, I didn't. I was a little bit for him because I like Billy Napier. I think he's just fine right where he is. I didn't want Lane going over there.
Getting better. I tell you what, to me, that's the game that changed our season. They should have beat us here, and they kind of blew it. And that game, I mean, looking back on it now, that was a huge victory.
All right, folks, hope you enjoyed the show. I wanted to have my two brothers on, talk a little bit about football and whatnot. Hope you enjoyed your Thanksgiving. And if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Let's continue to cover all these big college sports stories. And if you've not subscribed, hit this little button right here. It will not cost you a dime. It's free.
You serious, Clark?
That's right. I am serious. And right over here's the most recent video, YouTube. Thanks, you'll enjoy. And we'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Merry Christmas!